Hello and welcome to Firstpost America, your home for the biggest stories shaping the US and the world. I'm Kerry Johnston, live from the Firstpost studios. Our top story on the show today. Has the countdown to conflict begun? The US president sets a deadline of 15 days to avoid a war with Iran. Also on the program, a galaxy of alien conspiracies as Donald Trump orders the release of government documents related to UFOs. Russian forces are cut off from space as Elon Musk pulls the plug on their use of his Starlink satellite system amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. And viral claims of housing scams in America spark a racism debate in the rapidly changing Texas suburbs. The standoff between the US and Iran has entered a dangerous new phase, where diplomacy and military force are moving side by side. Yesterday, US President Donald Trump issued a blunt 10 to 15-day ultimatum. He warned Tehran to make a meaningful deal with Washington or bad things will happen. The irony, of course, is that Trump was speaking at the inaugural meeting for his so-called Board of Peace. And while on the podium, he made it clear that patience was running out. He also reminded Iran of what happened the last time the US used its aerial firepower.
It went into Iran and it totally decimated the nuclear potential. And when it decimated that, all of a sudden we had peace in the Middle East because there was a black cloud hanging over the Middle East. And if that wasn't done, that cloud would have been there. And countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, countries like nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. You couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Well, those words carry weight because they're backed by visible military movements. The US has deployed dozens of warships and fighter jets near Iranian waters amid growing speculation that military strikes could be imminent. In fact, a day before Trump's comments, several reports indicated that US forces could be ready to launch attacks as early as this weekend, although Trump has reportedly not made a final decision. Trump's latest warning comes just days after the US and Iran wrapped up their second round of nuclear talks in Geneva. Washington's goal is clear: prevent Tehran from ever obtaining a nuclear bomb. Iran insists it's not pursuing one and maintains its nuclear program is strictly civilian. But there is friction even within the talks. US ally Israel has now entered the rhetorical battlefield as well, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu adding fuel to the fire.
We are operating in close coordination with our great ally, the United States. I made clear to my friend President Trump the principles that, in Israel's view, should guide any negotiations with Iran. We are prepared for any scenario. And one thing is certain, if the Ayatollahs make the mistake and attack us, they will experience a response they cannot even imagine.
Well, Tehran, meanwhile, has responded with its own threats. Iran's ambassador to the United Nations warned in a letter to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres that US bases and assets would become legitimate targets if America attacks. President Masoud Pezeshkian has insisted that Iran does not want a war, but also signaled that it will not simply give in to foreign pressure. Tehran is also saying that no country can deprive it of its enrichment rights. Meanwhile, Germany has now reduced its troop presence in northern Iraq, citing escalating tensions. And inside Iran, nuclear sites are reportedly being fortified and covered in soil. Satellite imagery show that the country is also rebuilding missile production facilities. So diplomacy is still alive between the US and Iran, but it's surrounded by warships. The next few days may decide whether this crisis ends at the negotiating table or explodes far beyond it. Well, for more on this, we're joined by Luciano Zakara, who's a Middle East and the Gulf political analyst, live from Doha in Qatar. Welcome to the program. How close do you think we are to a full-scale conflict with all its terrifying consequences?
Well, we are closer than ever, but we keep getting closer. I mean, if you remember, in January already there were rumors about the U.S. was ready to attack, and supposedly Trump made that decision last minute because also of the rejection of the GCC states, Turkey and Pakistan. They were asking Trump not to bomb Iran, but by then there was only one aircraft carrier in the region. Now there are three. So if all this military buildup will have something to do, it will be an attack against some facilities or some installation of the nuclear missile or the nuclear program. So I don't see why we are getting that amount of military strength without using that, or without making clear that they are ready to use it if there is a negative result of the negotiations. It seems that Trump is ready. It seems that Trump is giving the signal that we are getting ready, accumulating more power. But what we cannot discard is that this accumulation of power is just to convince Iran that more time is passing, more dangerous is the situation, because bigger would be the attack from the United States. So as Trump said, we will see in 10, maximum 15 days, whether this response from Iran to the United States is something that Trump accepts or not. Hopefully, there will be some kind of negotiation.
And within that time frame that you mentioned, and what about other countries in the region? Presumably, they're doing their best to try and stop a conflict from breaking out.
Exactly. All the countries are using their leverage on one side or the other. Larijani visited Oman and Qatar, trying to give a message also to the United States. We assume that many other countries, Turkey, Pakistan, are also trying to intervene, Egypt as well. So everybody's using their leverage to convince one or the other that some concessions need to be made on the Iranian side, that something needs to be done regarding the missile program, because it's clear that the nuclear file is already there, and then the Iranians have no problem to negotiate something with the US, as they did in 2013-15. The problem is the other two aspects that the United States are putting as red lines, that if they see no response from Iran, they will consider that there was a negative response. So I assume that both sides need concessions, both sides need reassurances. The US needs reassurances that missile capability will not be used against Israel, for instance, if that is the main concern of the United States. But Iran also needs reassurances that there will be no attack from the United States or Israel in the short or mid-term, because so far what we heard from Trump is demands. It's imposition of conditions, as it was a winner against the loser in this war. But there is no negotiation. There is no carrot as a show to the Iranian to say, okay, if you accept to make some concession in the missile program or in the relation with the proxies, you will get something in exchange. What we hear so far is you have to do that, otherwise we will bomb you.
Given what you say then, given what you say, I mean, to what extent does both the US and Iran have good reasons not to go to war?
Well, and Iran doesn't want to go to war because, of course, it will be much more complicated, the situation that they already have. We have to bear in mind that Iran has been suffer sanctions, very big sanctions since 2010, that only a short period of relief from sanctions happened in 2015 until 2018. And since then until now, there were permanent sanctions against the Iranian economy, that the situation is not good at all, that we had several protests triggered by economic grievances in 2017, 2019, and the latest one in 2025, that we still don't know how it was solved with the big repression. So Iran is not able to afford a long-term war, moreover considering that they already had that confrontation in 2025 that severely damaged the image of the military, Iranian military, and also we don't know to what extent it affected the military capability of Iran. So Iran doesn't want a war. United States doesn't want a war because Trump doesn't want to engage in a long-term war. The United States cannot afford to have a permanent amount of soldiers in the Middle East. So far what we saw is a deployment of naval air force, but not boots on the ground. So it's going to be an aerial attack, not an invasion of the country. And it's difficult to believe that Trump will get what he wants only with an aerial attack. And one of the things that he could achieve or he wants to achieve is destroying the Iranian capability to retaliate to all the regional allies of the United States, which is also not guaranteed neither by the intelligence agencies of the United States.
Luciano Zaccara, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And now for something out of this world. The debate over unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, has landed in the center of American politics. This time it's driven by a directive from President Donald Trump. The president announced on social media that he's directing federal agencies to begin identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life. This would include records related to UFOs. The president said the process would include information connected to what he described as highly complex matters. He did not specify whether classified material would be made public. Well, the announcement follows renewed public interest sparked by comments from former President Barack Obama. In an interview, when asked about extraterrestrial life, Obama said that the universe is vast enough for statistical odds to favor life existing somewhere else other than Earth. Well, President Trump, though, would not be drawn over whether he believed in aliens.
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it.
Well, there's currently no scientific evidence of intelligent life beyond Earth, but the issue of unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP, has been the subject of official US government review in recent years. In March 2024, the Pentagon released a comprehensive report concluding that it has never found any proof of alien technology. According to the report, many cases of alleged UFO sightings were just ordinary objects such as weather balloons, satellites, drones, or natural phenomena. The Congress has also held multiple public hearings on the matter. In May 2022, a House Intelligence Subcommittee hearing marked the first open congressional session on UFOs in more than 50 years. Lawmakers even called for a rigorous probe of unexplained sightings.
Unidentified aerial phenomena are a potential national security threat, and they need to be treated that way. For too long, the stigma associated with UAPs has gotten in the way of good intelligence analysis. Today, we know better. UAPs are unexplained, it's true, but they are real. They need to be investigated.
Well, after President Trump's directive, it remains unclear what additional materials may be identified or released, whether any new information will alter existing official conclusions. For now then, the official position of the US government remains unchanged. UFOs have been investigated and there's no evidence of any aliens. And that, as of today, any strange sightings originate very firmly from here on Earth. Well, still to come on the program, the lonely baby monkey forced to cling to a toy for company. But there's a happy ending. First, let's shift our focus to the 4-year-long Russia-Ukraine war. Tech titan Elon Musk has cut off Starlink access allegedly used by Russian forces, throwing Vladimir Putin's army off guard. Starlink is a satellite-based internet service. Ukraine says that its satellite terminals had been deactivated after Kyiv alerted SpaceX, the company that operates Starlink, that it was being secretly used by Russian troops. On Sunday, Musk said that SpaceX had taken action.
Looks like the steps we took to stop the unauthorized use of Starlink by Russia have worked. Let us know if more needs to be done.
Well, Ukrainian Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov said Kyiv officials contacted SpaceX within hours of reports that Russian drones using Starlink were operating over Ukrainian cities. He added that Kyiv was developing a new verification system that would ensure the use of only authorized Starlink terminals.
The next step is implementing a system that will allow only authorized terminals to operate on the territory of Ukraine. In the coming days, we will share instructions for Ukrainian users to register their Starlink terminals for verification. Unverified terminals will be disabled. The registration process will be simple, fast, and user-friendly.
Ukrainian officials describe it as a serious blow for Russia. Battlefield communications hit and drone operations disrupted. They say blocking Starlink has already been significant.
For the Russians, this is not just a problem, it is a catastrophe. We knew that they used Starlink on the front, but we did not believe that it was this crucial.
Well, meanwhile, the Russian side downplayed the impact of the move. The communications official for the Russian military said the disruption had not significantly affected operations. He insisted alternative systems were already in place.
Starlink was only used marginally, and the Army has all modern, domestically produced communication services. The operations control system functions reliably and ensures the command and control of troops at the front.
Since 2022, both Ukraine and Russia have relied heavily on portable internet systems to monitor, coordinate, and respond to battlefield developments in real time. Starlink has been a backbone for Ukraine to ensure smooth communication since the war started. It has supported frontline coordination, linked units, and helped guide surveillance and strikes. Russia was also secretly accessing the system. In recent weeks, Ukraine recorded its biggest military gains in more than 2.5 years. Kyiv reportedly regained over 200 square kilometers in just 5 days. A senior Ukrainian military official claimed that several counterattacks were launched along the entire front line in just a single day. The US-based Institute for the Study of War assessed that Ukrainian forces were likely exploiting Russia's loss of Starlink access. The digital setback has now translated into a battlefield opportunity. Ukrainian and Russian negotiators met in Geneva on Tuesday. Territory remained the core dispute, though, especially issues surrounding the Donbas region. Well, Donald Trump has been pushing for a swift deal, urging both sides to end Europe's largest conflict since the Second World War. However, no breakthrough has yet emerged as the deadlock persists. Now, a routine city council meeting in suburban Texas has snowballed into a viral flashpoint over immigration, housing, and race. The controversy began when right-wing influencer Kaylee Campbell posted a clip from a Frisco City Council meeting on X. In her post, she accused Indian Americans in Frisco of scamming housing communities. She alleges that some Indian renters are applying for apartments, qualifying for leases, and then informally subleasing those units to friends, making it harder for others to find housing. She wrote, "They're not Americans, they are scammers." The clip she posted features a woman identified as Kelly, who spoke during public comments at the Frisco City Council. Now, her X account is filled with conservative messaging and slogans, with multiple posts targeting the Indian community. She's also alleged that members of the Indian community were manipulating the apartment leasing system. According to her, one person would apply for and qualify for a lease, passing the required background and credit checks. But on move-in day, a different individual would collect the keys and occupy the apartment. In her view, this meant the person actually living in the apartment had not undergone proper screening. She also claimed that some lease applications involved falsified documents. She argued that if people bypass official checks, neighbors cannot be sure who they're living next to.
It seems like the Indian community is coming here, living above the rules, taking jobs. It's sad to see that the beautiful city of Frisco used to be a farmland and fresh air, and now it's nothing but student driving stickers. We need to stop pandering to foreign workers and start putting Texans first.
Well, the post received intense backlash. Some users commented that subleasing is not a crime. Some even pointed out the racism behind the allegations, saying that targeting an entire community based on a few instances makes no sense. Others said if an Indian subleasing a house to another Indian is bad, That should be the case with white Americans too. It all comes as the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in North Texas sees rapid growth in its Indian origin population, estimated at over 270,000. Well, Frisco, known for strong schools and a booming job market, has become a magnet for those on H-1B visas, which enable American firms to employ highly skilled foreign workers. So as social media amplifies local grievances into national outrage, the real question remains, are these claims rooted in evidence or just the fear of a changing progressive America? Now, sometimes the smallest stories leave the biggest impact. At a zoo in Japan, a baby monkey has quietly captured hearts across the world. Rejected early in life and struggling to fit in, he was often seen clinging to an unusual source of comfort, and the internet simply couldn't look away. What began as a heartbreaking sight has now taken an unexpected turn, with millions following his journey in real time. Tonight, we bring you an emotional story with a happy ending.
In a quiet corner of Japan's Ichikawa City Zoo, a tiny drama has been unfolding, one that has tugged at millions of heartstrings across the globe. It began with a baby monkey and a plush toy. Punch was born in July 2025. It is a young Japanese macaque. Shortly after his birth, he was rejected by his biological mother. For a species where infants instinctively hold on tight to their mums for warmth, safety, and survival, the absence was profound. Zookeepers stepped in to hand raise him. But when they later introduced him to the troop, the welcome was anything but warm. Videos that surfaced online showed the 6-month-old macaque being pushed away by other monkeys as it tried to interact. So his caretakers gave him something soft to hold on to. A small, stuffed orangutan. The plush toy, nicknamed Ora Mama by fans, became Punch's constant companion.
Baby Japanese macaques immediately cling on to their mother's body after birth to build muscle strength. They also get a sense of security through holding on to something. However, because he had been abandoned, Punch had nothing to grip onto. We tried several options to give him something to hold. We rolled towels into various thickness to find something easy to grasp and let him try holding different stuffed toys.
Punch was rarely seen without it. He dragged it across the enclosure, cuddled with it, played with it, and seemed to seek comfort from it. The story went viral. Social media users across platforms began sharing clips of Punch with his plush companion. The world, it seemed, was quietly rooting for this little macaque who refused to give up. The toy itself added another unexpected twist. Fans discovered that the plush toy comes from IKEA Japan, meaning anyone could purchase the very same comfort companion. Touched by Punch's journey, the company's president even visited the zoo and reportedly donated several stuffed toys. But now Punch's story has reached a turning point. Caretakers observed another monkey grooming Punch. Soon after, videos showed him playing with other young monkeys. The zoo recently shared an update that Punch had gradually formed connections within the troop. That resilience, the ability to be pushed away and try again, may be what truly won the internet over.
It depends on how Punch's confidence develops going forward, but recently he's been spending less time with the stuffed toy, day by day, and he's interacting with the other monkeys more. Things carry on like this, I think he's likely to blend into the troop little by little, and I think there will come a day when he no longer needs his stuffed toy.
Punch's story joins a growing list of animal tales that have captured global attention in recent years. In 2024, Pesto, the enormous king penguin chick at Sea Life Melbourne Aquarium, became a celebrity after weighing 22 kilograms at just 9 months. That same year, Mu Deng, a rosy-cheeked pygmy hippopotamus born in Thailand, became a sensation, complete with merchandise and endorsements. In a world that can often feel noisy and divided, Punch's journey from rejection to acceptance has offered something simple and powerful. It is proof that comfort can come in unexpected forms, that resilience can be learned, and that sometimes all it takes to begin again is something soft to hold on to.
That's it on the show today. We'll be back on Monday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, Firstpost America gets a new look. I'm Kerry Johnston, and this is Firstpost America.